Okay, I purposely picked this problem because you remember going over the potato problem last year? It was from the test the year before that so many people got a big old zero on. This is very similar. This preceded the potato question by a few years, but it was very similar. People missed it like crazy, and they really shouldn't have if they read the question correctly. So I didn't pick the potato problem because we did go over it last year. If you'd like to, you can always find it looking up, and I'll help you if you wanted to practice the potato problem from, that would have been 2017, I believe. So that should be in homework or an after school review. But so this is very similar. So we have to recognize that we have dB dt. So that's acting as our y. B is like our y. It is our dependent variable. So that's like a y. And that is key to the entire problem right there. Okay. It's not your independent, it's your dependent variable. So is the bird gaining weight faster when it weighs 40 grams or when it weighs 70 grams? Well, I'm going to evaluate dB dt when t is 40. Then I'm going to evaluate dB dt when t is 70. Okay. Now, if t is 40, okay, if t is 40, be careful there. T is 40. We know b of t. So I just plug it in and I get 12, right? 60 times 1/5. Plug in 70, I get 30 times 1/5, which is 6. So my answer is at t equals 40. It's a bigger answer, right? Bigger derivative, growing faster. That's part A. Part B, find the second derivative. This is where people started to butcher. Oh, part A, by the way, was worth 2 points. 2 points. Okay, B, this is the second derivative. Now remember, that's like a y, so we have to use implicit differentiation. So when I find my second derivative, okay, by the way, that's just 20. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that's 20 minus 1/5 b. Power rule, that'll give me negative 1/5 b prime, right? We're using implicit differentiation. A lot of people did not do that. So I said in terms of b, so I don't want this, just like the potato problem. I'm going to plug back in. We know b prime is that whole junk. 1/5 100 minus b. And I am going to clean that up just a little bit. I don't need to, but I might need that information later. I know in the potato problem we do. Okay. Now it says explain why the graph of b cannot resemble the following graph. Okay, so this is needed. Okay. So looking at this graph here, we have to decide second derivative. Well, this is a negative number. We need to decide what 100 minus b is. Okay. Now you were told that b at time 0 is 20. And then, so it's got to be in between 20 and, if b is in between 20 and 100. Okay, so if that's the case, then that 100 minus b is going to be a positive number. Okay, which means my second derivative, a positive times a negative, is going to be negative, and that would always be concave down. Okay, so looking at that graph, that is not always concave down. Right there, it's concave up. So that's why it cannot be that graph. And that's plenty of work. I'm showing that, hey, it's got to be concave down, so it can't be that graph. Okay, and that's only worth 2 points, which, you know, I think it should have been a little more, but 1 point for that, 1 point for that. Part D, it even says use separation of variables. You've got your initial conditions. Let me get a new page here because I'm a little messy there. dB dt is 1/5 100 minus b. Now remember, that's a y, so I'm going to divide by it. The antiderivative. Now that is a little substitution. Watch your signs. I'll get negative natural log absolute value of 100 minus b equals 1/5 t plus c. Divide by that negative. You cannot take e to the both sides until you get rid of that coefficient. So I get negative 1/5 t plus c, right? A constant times a negative, still a constant. Now you can do e to the. So you get 100 minus b. Remember, e to the negative 1/5 t times e to the c is really c e to the negative 1/5 t. Subtract 100. Divide by that negative. I'm going to go ahead and switch the terms then. Okay, and our initial condition was 0, 20. So plug in 20 and 0. E to the 0 is just 1. Okay, so I end up getting C is 80. That's an 80. My pen has just stopped altogether here. Okay, plug it back in, so I get B is 100 minus 80. Ah, come on, pen. E to the negative 1/5 t. And that was worth 5 points. Whenever those separation variables on there, they are worth a lot.